Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. Happy Wednesday, December 3rd. Man, time is flying. It's going to be 2026 before we know it. Trump only has another year and a half before it's no longer even fucking reasonable to assume he can do anything because he'll be in his fucking lame duck period. He's falling asleep in meetings. He's bombing the shit out of Venezuela while he's pardoning his fucking drug buddies simultaneously. The world's fucked up. What are you going to do? I am going to play a little more GeoChamp. My goal is to get 100% on this eventually. I'm going to have to probably play it quite a few times to do that, but I have a pretty good memory. So once I know where a country's at, I usually don't forget. That's not true because I still don't know where the Kosovo and Albania and all those countries are, but yeah, I'm gonna do this for a few minutes and then I'll get started when a few people get in here. Tunisia, I'm pretty sure because I've seen this one before. It's in between Libya and Algeria. And that's only because of my memory. Latvia, I have no idea. Now, I think it's going to be up here. Latvia, maybe it's this one right here. No, that's part of Russia. It's right there. Latvia is the middle one. Djibouti. I've seen this one before too, but I can't remember. Say Africa. Say right here. No. Other side. That's right. It's over there by. It's. Imagine living there. Djibouti. You're right next to Somalia, Ethiopia, and God knows where else. I think that's Yemen right there across the water. That's got to be a fucking lovely place of the world. Gambia, no idea. Gambia. I'm going to say back over here again. Guinea. Oh, I was close. Never heard of Gambia. Not a place I'd want to be either. Off the coast of Africa. Let's see here. Benin. No clue. I'm going to say fuck. I have no idea. Let's say it's this guy. It is in Africa, though. Huh. Right next to Togo. Benin. What's the name of that one down there? Eswatini. Guinea-Bissau. I have no clue. It's either South America or because they have like Papua New Guinea. I always get these ones confused. Guinea-Bissau, I'll say this. It's in Africa. Guinea-Bissau. Okay. See, it'll take me forever to remember that. That's Papua New Guinea's over there. Okay. Well, one of the ones in South Africa or South America, can't remember the name of this one. It's something Guinea or Belarus. I'm going to say Europe. Say this guy. Moldova. I was close. Moldova. Antigua and Barbuda. Well, those are the Caribbean. I don't know which ones. I've never been to the Caribbean. My granddaughter has. I have not. Antigua and Barbuda. Well, I know this one is Grenada. Okay, here's two islands right here. Antigua and Barbuda. Let's try these two. No, that's Guadalupe. It's right above it. It's close. That's Puerto Rico. I think these ones right here are called like Kittis and Nevin or something like that. Burkina Faso. No fucking clue. Sounds like the Middle East. Or over here. Yeah. Pakistan. Maybe it's over here. Let's try this one. That's Qatar. Africa. Burkina Faso. Never heard of that. I don't remember that being a country in Africa when I was a kid. Just saying. Estonia. Back in the USSR, right? So this one was Latvia. Let's try this one. Yay, we got one. Finally got one. The capital, Tallinn, Estonia. So we know it's Estonia, Latvia. This is Poland. I don't know what these two are. Lebanon. Israel, Palestine. Is this Lebanon? Beirut, Lebanon. East Timor. No clue. Absolutely no clue. I mean, right here. It's down by Malaysia. East Timor. Okay. I think there's like 20,000 islands right there. Eritrea. Never heard of that either. Wouldn't want to live there either. Good Lord. Czech Republic. I have no idea. Wasn't that one time Czechoslovakia? Now it's the Czech Republic. We'll say this one. That's Kosovo. Czech Republic is up by Germany and Poland. Okay. The Czech Republic. It'd be weird to just like wake up one day in some weird country you don't even know the name of. You wouldn't even know where the fuck you were at. Solomon Islands. Africa, maybe? No, that sounds like over here somewhere. I was close. New Caledonia. Solomon Islands are up there a little bit farther. Okay. Do a couple more. Georgia, we did this one, and I don't remember. Maybe it's this one. Lithuania. So it goes Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. Georgia is down south. Okay, last one. Andorra. No clue. Andorra? What? I have no clue. Andorra is a country in between Spain and France. Okay. All right, that's it for now. Don, good morning. Are we homeschooled? Are we being homeschooled in geography yet? See, I wasn't looking at the chat. Sweet Tea, good morning. Yeah, you would. Yeah, we need you for that area right there. You're probably an expert in all that. You probably know about Malaysia and Indonesia and all those kind of islands. have to go back and look at the chat now that you're here. My goal is to learn that. I want to get 100% on that thing. I think you can do 197 questions, something like that. 197 countries. Pretty cool game. It's called GeoChamp. Just kind of homeschooling myself, I guess. But hope you guys are doing good. What's going on in the world? Tissue alert. I don't know what that is. Get to the bookmarks. What's the name of the geography website? My dad will love it. GeoChamp. I'll bring it back up again. It's called GeoChamp, and you could do world countries, world cities, world nature, world sites. I've never tried any of these before. Let's see here. Let's just try one. It says, where is the Eiffel Tower? Okay. Where is the Las Vegas Strip? These are very easy. Times Square. Central Park. Okay. It probably gets harder and harder. What else do we got? World nature. Mountains, rivers, tectonic plates, lakes, mountain ranges, oceans. Let's try mountain ranges. Where is the Himalayas? Oh, this one's kind of cool. Let's try this one real quick. That's an easy one though, right? The Himalayas right here. The Rocky Mountains. That one's pretty easy. Not all these are going to be easy though. You could tell. Damn, look how big the Rockies are. This map can't be that accurate. Where's the fucking Cascades, my guys? Oh, we found Andes. Damn, look how big the Andes are. Damn, that's huge. It goes all the way. I didn't know it went all the way through Colombia like that. Interesting. So there's that. What else we got? World cities. And you can do it by on the map or pictures. And you can do capital cities or non-capital cities. Where is Monaco? See, I know this one because we did this one on the thing. It's right there in the corner. It's a little thing in France. Population 38,000. Monaco's a weird place, man. Population 38,350. Area 1 square mile. The country, Monaco. The capital, Monaco. If anybody can explain what Monaco is that like some big money laundering city? A hub for the rich? So anyway, there's all that kind of stuff. I'm not looking at the chat, so I'll go back to the chat. Joe Della, good morning. Good to see you. Yeah, so that's what we got, guys. GeoChamp. You know, the news, not going to lie, is just, I mean, you guys already know what it is. Not going to be any surprises other than Candace Owens, because most of you guys probably don't watch Candace Owens on a daily basis like I do when she comes on live. So there's a huge, I mean, she just dropped nukes yesterday on her show. I mean, nukes. But other than that, we have hypocrisy by our president who can't even stay awake. Sleepy, he calls Joe Biden Sleepy Joe. Now he's Sleepy Trump. So we make more of a big deal out of some imaginary fishermen on some AI video that they blow up in Venezuela. Some alleged, they make such a huge deal about these people that they killed in the, in the Caribbean or off the coast of Venezuela. Yet children are killed, gunned down at a birthday party in Stockton, California, and it doesn't even make the news. I don't think anybody even knows really about that story unless they watched it yesterday on here. I didn't see it anywhere else. Maybe it's on YouTube. Monaco is a principality, and attacks have located in the south of France. Monaco is a principality, and attacks have located in the south. It isn't it independent of France? I think so, yeah. Let me ask ChatGPT real quick. What is Monaco? Is it its own country, and why is it there? Is it for the rich? Kind of a dumb question, but let's see what it says. I canceled my $22 a month subscription, so it's probably going to take forever. Monaco is a sovereign country, one of the smallest in the world. Most famous district is Monte Carlo. It has been ruled by the Grimaldi family since 1297. Never heard of the Grimaldi family. I'd like to look them up. Over the centuries, Monaco negotiated treaties with larger powers, France, Genoa, and Sardinia, maintaining autonomy in exchange for certain agreements. In 1861, France formally recognized Monaco as an independent state. France protects it militarily, but Monaco is politically independent. Is Monaco a place for the rich? Yes, very much so. Monaco is famous for tailoring its economy and lifestyle toward wealthy residents. No income tax. Extremely safe. Monaco has one of the highest police per square mile ratios in the world. Crime is extremely low, partly because it's tiny and extremely wealthy. Has high-end casinos, yacht harbors, supercar traffic, luxury apartments, Formula One Grand Prix. It's literally designed to attract high-wealth individuals. You have to deposit 500 to €1 million in a Monaco bank to become a resident. Studio apartments start around $3 million. Yep. Sounds like a real hospitable place. See no evil, good morning. Our OG conspiracy friend. Yep, you know it, that's me. So Monaco, yeah. I seen it just kind of popped on my radar like a few months ago because Conor McGregor was seen chilling on his yacht watching the F1 racing. And I'm thinking, oh God, this place has got to be for the super douchebags of the world if he's there. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be fucking rapists and fucking money launderers and racketeers and murderers and who fucking knows who's in that city if he's just chilling there on his yacht. That's why the F1 drivers all state Monaco as their place of residence. Understand. Well, that makes sense. It's beautiful but expensive with a lot of people with their heads stuck up their ass. That I can believe. James Simpson, good morning, sir. You know, I think for most of us, we realize, we all have different financial statuses. I'm definitely probably on the top 5% of the lower end of financial status, even amongst all of us. But, as I try to grow my business, I have no intention or desires to get to a certain monetary level. I could care less about the number million, 10 million, a billion. Those numbers don't mean anything to me. I just want to be financially independent. And I already kind of feel like I am, knock on wood, just able to just live my life the way I see fit. Now, I can't do everything I want to do. I can't do a lot of things that I would want to do, but I don't really want to do a lot of things other than just work my business. So I'm pretty content, with the way things are going. I do want to definitely grow my business to a more, I don't even know the word, but it needs to be more consistent, more, there needs to be some employees coming up down the road. Connor's making a comeback. He just went through an ibogaine treatment in Mexico. Yeah. At this point with Connor, I mean, would everybody still watch it, including myself? Yeah, more than likely, Definitely don't want to see him box if he were to come back. It better be in the UFC. I mean, I think we can, I don't know if we can all agree, but boxing fucking sucks, man. Now, if it's two high-level fighters, if it's somebody like, Tank and, like real fucking boxers, be one thing. I mean, I'd even watch like Deontay Wilder, even though he fucking sucks too. But Coach Train, he's a punching bag washed up, says Don Miku, sorry. The news is just filled with a bunch of shit today. So I'm sure there's good things going on in the world, and I would love to talk about them. But the fact is that we don't even know what our government is. It's such hypocrisy every which way you look. They're just flat fucking liars. And it's not like, it's because they don't really have any control, these politicians. It truly is a oligarchy, technocracy, just, it is ran by the rich, it's ran by secret places, like it's like the Monacos of the world that don't exist on the map. Candace really kind of is opening people's eyes to the fact that how much influence France has in the United States, in Delaware especially, that, I'm not from the East Coast, but apparently if you know history, that, Delaware and France go hand in hand, and the DuPont family, says it all right there. Pierre DuPont. And, apparently if you're from Delaware, you know what goes on over there. Some shady ass shit. I go to small venues where the boxers are on their way up, and it's good. Yeah, see, now that, boxing in itself as a sport, I wouldn't do it personally. I don't want to get CTE. I got hit one time, put on some boxing gloves and got hit once in the face. I'm like, fuck this, man. No, thank you. I don't have any desire to prove, I don't have anything to prove when it comes to that shit. Fuck that, man. Some of us need our wits about them. You know what I mean? We all have our own calling. I'm not knocking it. I got to stay sharp. I do enough shit to fuck my brain up with smoking weed and drinking too much coffee and all the shit that we eat and the Wi-Fi and, it's the noble art. Yeah, and 100%. You got to respect the art. And plus, it's just such a great way for kids to stay off the street and just, be productive and exercise and, learn how to lose, learn how to win properly, learn how to win and, not, gloat and, belittle your opponent, respect your opponent for, getting in there and, all that shit. It is very good. But, you know, what we're talking about is the clown show that is, you know, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and just Ariel Helwani, and, you know. Isn't the heir of DuPont in jail? Possibly. There's probably more than one in jail. I mean, there's stories, like Candace told a story where somebody, I don't remember, somebody in that family had the son killed, or the father-in-law killed, or the son-in-law killed, or people be dying left and right around the DuPonts. So, and, you know, it's been going on for, you know, this isn't nothing new. It's been going on for a long time, apparently. But, you know, because Candace was touching on the fact that there was these Egyptian planes that had this Israeli connection that kept landing in Wilmington, Delaware. You know, and then it's basically, literally, it is a French connection, you know. And so trying to figure out who this dignitaire is that's been flying around on this plane, and it could be Pierre DuPont. It's a long story, but, you know, it's a lot of fucking weird, creepy connections. CG2, good morning. Do I see you in the chat? Yes, good morning, good morning. Jake Paul and these money grabbers have turned it into a circus. Yes. Yeah. And the problem is that, you know, it is all about the money. And so you can't really blame, but, you know, and I said this a long time ago when gambling, you know, sports betting became what it is now. You know, sports betting has been around forever, but once it went online, DraftKings, all that. You know, I told Moss on the MMA holes, I told him years ago, this is going to ruin the credibility of sports completely. And, you know, gambling. And it's just what it is. You know, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. And it's about the clicks and views. And there is no integrity in sports anymore. It is gone. It just like I said, it got completely ruined. I mean, even at like the collegiate level, there's nothing. There's nothing to watch. If there was, I'd watch it. But there's not. It is nothing but absolute being rigged. And people think that I've been bullshitting about that. I've been saying my whole life that the government controls the outcome of sports. And does that mean that fucking Adam Schiff and JD Vance are there with a fucking gaming controller? No. And it's not those guys. But it's not the government. It is, but whoever's doing it, there is somebody. There are people that they do. You know, and now they're trying to come out with all these. You can go on X. I didn't see any this morning, but for the last 2 weeks, it's nothing but, oh, the NFL is obviously rigged, and they'll show like, make it look like there's magnets in the ball because of the field goal kick, or, you know, they could have scored, but they didn't, type of thing. You know what I mean? But it's much bigger than that. It's way deeper than that. How they rig the games. It happens way before they get on the field. People don't, when there's money involved, people think, you know, they don't, the lengths that the system will go to when there's money involved, people don't realize. I mean, that's the only thing that counts. Boxers, and I'm tired of being played. I'm tired of being played. At 52 years old, I'm tired of being played by all these motherfuckers. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being lied to. So I tuned out. I fucking tune out of that shit. I don't want to be suckered anymore. I just don't. They're not going to get my money. They're definitely not going to get my attention, because our attention is the most valuable thing you can give somebody. You know, that was a quote in Now You See Me, I think was the name of it. The Woody Harrelson, they were magicians, that group of magicians. It was a great fucking quote, that your attention is the most valuable thing you can ever give somebody. And that is so true. You know, can I have your undivided attention? And I hate having my attention fucking given to people that are complete fucking liars and psychopaths and just want to steal your money. You know, I'm over it. I'm over it. Boxers at the end of their careers and others grabbing money, but global people are paying to watch that shit. Yeah, and I was one of them, Joe, because of my buddy. You know, like I will do things for my friends. You know, we only have one life to live, and so I will, you know, I'll go back on everything when it comes to, like, you know, I'll go to a sporting event if I'm going to go with one of my friends if they really want to go. I.e., not around here, but like if it's a big deal, you know what I mean? I was going to go to. We had already paid for the trip to go watch Mike Tyson fight Jake Paul in Arlington, Texas. I mean, we had to pay for the fight, paid for the airfare, paid for the hotel. We were just about to pay to go because we're going to drive down and go watch Joe Rogan's at the Comedy Mothership. I think Colin Quinn was the comedian that we were going to see that was going to be there at the time. So we had this whole trip planned out. But it was going to cost me, you know, several $1,000s. And luckily we got our money back when they canceled because of, I don't even remember why the fuck they canceled. Plus it was in July and it's going to be 100 degrees and I wasn't looking forward to it. But I will do things like that, you know. Osato, what was the program you were using yesterday, figuring out the countries? My grandson loves maps and where countries are. Bragging grandma, he's brilliant. I'll show you right now, CG2. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, my son also, you know, when he's 30 now, but when he was in middle school, they put up on the reader board at Cougar Mountain Junior High that he won a geography quiz, which I was so proud of him for that. And he was so proud of himself, which was awesome. It's called GeoChamp. I'll put it up for you. GeoChamp. And you can do it on your phone. There's an app. I'm just doing it on the computer. I just, you know, go into the website. And you can do world countries like I was doing. You can do world cities. And you can do it by map, by picture. There's world nature. Like we were doing this one, mountains. And it says that where is Mount Everest? Type of thing. It's got all that. It's a really cool website. I like it. GeoChamp. So I hope he enjoys that. After Tyson versus Paul debacle, Tyson would have eaten him alive, but money talks. Yep. Jake Paul, in my opinion, was smart. He is worth more than any professional boxer. Got to give him the credit for his hustle. Yeah, 100% for the hustle. It just destroyed the credibility of boxing is all, you know. But yeah, definitely can't knock him for his hustle. And he is, you know, a pretty good boxer. I mean, to some degree, he's not in there like looking like a clown. You know what I mean? You can't say that about him. And I know he'd fucking knock the shit out of me. So it's just, you know, I don't even know how to put it to words. Like he didn't even he started boxing, but it wasn't part of the boxing program. And then you know, now it's got to the point where you take a guy who is supposed to be one of the best in the world, Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't make no sense. You know what I mean? This is how you know that it's all scripted, because it's impossible that you take that guy who was an actor or whatever and, you know, YouTuber, and then turn him into a professional boxer to where he's fighting Anthony Joshua. And you know what I mean? Like you just know it's a script. That's an impossibility right there. So, yes, you got it. Magooch, love your nephew's channel. Yeah, this channel is awesome. Magooch is in the house. I did not see Magooch come in. Magooch, good morning. Sorry, guys. The chat moves sometimes. Okay. So the videos, I mean, said they're not good. I mean, Tommy Stiggs, good morning, sir. How are you? Good to see you. Hope all is well. I seen some soup you made on your show or on YouTube, and I'm like, man, that's something that I would not. It's something that I would not eat. I don't know what those beans are. They're probably pretty good. I would like to try that soup just to taste it. But I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, I don't eat healthy enough because that does look really healthy. And I mean, it's not that I don't know. Anyway, I want to start making soups too. That's what I guess I'm saying. But my soups wouldn't look like that. Too many vegetables in there for me. I need meat. I need some meat, like some. If I was gonna make a soup, I would do like there's one called spicy bean, like it's a whole bunch of different beans with a spicy sausage, something like that. So, yeah, but hope everybody's doing good. I have I'm not watching. I watched my granddaughter yesterday, but I'm taking today and tomorrow off because I got to get busy. I finally got my chocolate, and it's all melted, well, at least a good portion of it. So right after the show, I can get to work, and I got to make a ton of cocoa bombs. And I'm making. I got these Christmas boxes that I pulled out of my some of my bins from a couple of years ago. It's cool when I find stuff that I can use that I bought, way too much of at one point. So I'll be busy doing that today. The body has a hard time breaking down meat. Vegetables are quick. It's good for the body. Yeah, no, it's true. It's a good point. Gotta love a 2-inch steak. Yeah, I can't argue with that, Don. Although I can't afford to eat. I was eating steak and eggs for breakfast every morning for a while. And then I realized how much money I was spending. I'm like, oof, oof, oof. I mean, but, when you eat out and shit like I was, a lot, you spend that much money anyways. So, which is dumb to even think about that I would worry about the price of eating healthy when I just don't even think about spending that much on shit. So, it is what it is. We all have our shortcomings. But yeah, so I'll be busy today after the show. I got to make a bunch of hot cocoa bombs. Yesterday, I made more of that jelly nougat candy. People like that. Went down to the almond roca factory and bought a bunch of their secondhand stuff. Man, this one thing about, if anybody likes almond roca, just the one unique thing about Tacoma, Washington, that just happens to be where the factory is at, and they ship China's their biggest customer, but they ship almond roca basically around the world. They have in the business district, they have a secondhand store factory. They have a storefront at the factory itself, but then in a different town, they have where they bring all their messed up chocolate, and they have a lot of it. They have a lot of chocolate that it just, they stick together, pieces stick together. They didn't get wrapped right. I mean, the list, there's just I don't know why. But you take a bag of this, like I bought this stuff, it's called cinnamon sugar toffee with white chocolate, and it tastes like churros. I mean, I literally could just resell this stuff in a different package. It is fucking delicious, and they're $1 a bag because they're messed up. It says the appearance is not perfect, but the taste is great, and it's 7 ounces of this stuff for $1. I mean, this bag has got to be like $5 or $6 minimum, and then if you take it to like a grocery store, like I mean, I could only imagine probably like $10 for these. People are paying like $10 for these bags, at least. I get it for $1, which is awesome. Junk food is cheap. Healthy food is expensive and time consuming to make cook. That's why everyone prefers. Yeah, it's true. It is true. But yeah, so I went and bought those, but I bought a bunch of their almond roca secondhand ones, and then I just unwrapped them and crush it up in the food processor, and then I take milk chocolate and I just lay it out on parchment, make like a bark, and press in the ground up almond roca into the milk chocolate. It's amazing. I don't eat it. I've tried a couple pieces just to make sure it's good, but people love it. Yeah, well, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take them out of the package and I'm gonna mix them up with my almond roca bark. I think I'm just gonna make like a roca box or something. But yeah, they're definitely gonna get sold for sure, and they have tons of them. I mean, they have boxes of them. I almost want to ask them if they will give me a discount if I buy even more. Like, if they're gonna sell them for $1, you can buy one bag for $1. If I bought, like $500 worth, would they give them to me for, like 50 cents a bag, like half price? I would do that. I was thinking about that. Try making the bark with ruffled potato chips and dark. That's a good idea. People like that too. I did do chocolate dipped habanero potato chips one time. I think they were habanero and something that people liked. I didn't like how long it took to make them. That's a good idea though. I could do is crush up, just not pulverize, but just crush up the chips and do that dark chocolate base. And I have, because those bags of almond roca that I'm talking about, you open up the bag, half of them are dark chocolate roca and half of them are the regular roca. I only use the regular roca. So I have a whole freezer bag full of the dark roca ones. I could crush that up with potato chips. I bet you, man, I'm about to try that, Coach Rain. That's a great idea. The key to the problem is that it burns through my chocolate super quick making that bark. I just have to order more chocolate. The key to a healthy digestive system is eliminating processed foods and sugars. Yep. And it's just, that's what, half of the grocery store is processed, ultra processed food. It's not just processed, it's ultra processed. It's popular around here. The salt and crunch is a perfect mix and it's cheap to make. Yeah, no, it's a great idea. I have to figure out a name for it. And steak is the best way to have a good gut and diet. Okay. Yeah, I feel awesome when I eat a steak. I just bought ground beef yesterday at the meat market. I quit buying beef any meat at the grocery store. I just go to the meat market now. I just feel better when I eat, especially the hamburger. I won't buy ground beef at the grocery store ever again. Hopefully not, anyways. Making Buckeyes. I live in the Buckeye State. A family request for Christmas. In your opinion, what would be the best chocolate for me to get to dip? Well, first I have to learn what a Buckeye is. What is a Buckeye pertaining to Christmas desserts? A Buckeye is a classic peanut butter and chocolate candy that looks like the nut from the Ohio Buckeye tree. They're very popular during the holidays because they're easy, no bake, and perfect for cookie trays. They're basically little balls of peanut butter, powdered sugar, rolled into balls and partially dipped into melted chocolate, leaving a circle of peanut butter showing just like the real Buckeye nut. Well, real quick, it says you want Christmas variations: white chocolate Buckeyes, crunch Buckeyes with crushed pretzels or cereal, huckleberry swirl Buckeyes for Osada treats, is what it says. Holiday peppermint Buckeyes. So they always give you like extra little things. Hold on one sec. In your opinion, what would be the best type of chocolate for the traditional Buckeye? Semi-sweet chocolate, about 50 to 60% cacao. This gives the perfect balance of not too sweet, not too bitter, melts smoothly, matches the sweetness of peanut butter filling. If you want sweeter and creamier, just use milk chocolate. If you want richer and more gourmet, you can go with the dark chocolate, about 60 to 70% cacao. And then it suggests if you're doing big batches for Osada treats, you should use Merkins or Ghirardelli, because you can buy them 25-pound boxes at a time, which I don't think you're doing that many. So, yeah, semi-sweet chocolate chips, I think it's the way to go. You can also go to, now the thing is, I'm sure you already know about like tempering and stuff like that for those. Because if you use a meltable chocolate, you don't have to temper. Some chocolates you got to temper. But I'm sure you probably made them before. When you bang out a couple of packs, your family loves them. Yeah, I want to try them. The nicotine is the best part of your diet. Charcoal grilled steaks with lemon squeezed over it. Cigarettes and coffee is best for the gut, right? Well, that used to be, I'm not going to lie, that was my diet for a long time too, Coach Rain. That's one of my biggest fears in life is going back to smoking cigarettes. And I never will. I mean, it's one of those things, it's like, when I'm done, I'm done. It's like, but I would like, I hear these stories about how nicotine is so beneficial, but I can't do it just because I'm afraid I'd start smoking cigarettes again. And it was like the most depressing, horrible thing to get over, when to try to quit smoking when you're such a heavy smoker. I mean, smoking pot, I could do it today if I really wanted to, not a problem. Cigarettes, it's not like that. Cigarettes, you can try and try and try and try, and you could just never. I tried so many times. A big cigar keeps the doctor away, right? Well, if you can afford them, So I know they're not cheap. Oh, boy. All right. Well, are we going to get into the X-Files? What's going on in the news? So Trump is bombing the shit out of Venezuela. They got him surrounded. And meanwhile, he's pardoning the Honduras drug kingpin, the Honduran drug kingpin. So make that make sense. And they're stopping the flow of fentanyl, although there's more fentanyl on the streets of Seattle than there ever has been before. So I don't understand, like how do we got in? I thought it was China that was responsible for fentanyl. How did Venezuela get into the picture? Were they even in the conversation during the election? Was that part of the plan for Make America Great Again? If I was president, what I would do is I would make the police go in and police the towns. Like we would go in, and if they don't want to do it, we'd send the federal government in and get rid of all the drug dealers. I'm going to find who's selling fentanyl, and I'm going to shoot them in the head, right, and leave them in the street. That's just what I would do. I would go to each city and just kill all the drug dealers. But these guys want to say they're going to cut off the flow of fentanyl, which is fine. I just don't buy it. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I mean, I guess in theory, what they're doing would be a good idea. Like instead of trying to get all the little drug dealers, that doesn't really make any sense. But we all know that that's not what they're doing. They're going after the oil. They're going after the gold. They're going after the lithium. And you'll see China's going to buck up to this because this is about routes and resources. So, it kind of has to do with the Panama Canal, the Darien Gap. It has to do with a bunch of things. But one of the huge things it has to do is this regime change and getting rid of, it's just the same playbook as getting rid of Gaddafi. Somebody that wants to be independent and not bow down to the global elite is going to get taken out and replaced with somebody that's pro-Israel. I mean, that's just what it is. So let's get into it. See what we got. I'm losing my voice already. Just a few random videos. Repo driver getting shot at by the guy he's towing.
Move back up. Oh, bitch. Move back up and I'll drop your fucking car. Dropping that. Dropping that. Back up and I'll drop your fucking car. Back up. Back up, my guy. Back up. Drop it. Back up. Back up and I'll drop it. Now. Drop it now. Drop it now. Watch out, my guy. Drop it now. Drop it now. I got everything on camera, my guy. Oh, drop it. You reach, I'm gonna kill you. I ain't reaching, my guy. Drop it now. Look, you see? Drop it now and pull it out. Drop it. Drop it now. Oh, fuck. Fuck. He just shot me, dude.
Where you at? Where you at?
He's following me.
Where you at? Where you at? Billy! Billy!
Hey, hold on. Hey, man.
You know, that's what happens when people just value stuff too much that they shouldn't value, in my opinion. You know, it's just you buy something you can't afford and you're willing to lose everything over your vehicle. This is why I love my $3,500 truck. You know, I could literally throw it in the gutter and go buy another. I mean, these people are just, they're so lost. They don't get it. And this is just America, though. You know, this is not an isolated incident. This is just what's going on a daily basis. That's what it's coming down to. You know, everybody has a gun, and there's no repercussions. You know, you kill somebody, you know, now you're looking at possibly doing, 8 to 10 years, but nobody gets hurt. What are the cops going to do? Nothing. You know, at one point in our lives, you pull out a gun, start shooting it like that, you're going to jail no matter what. You're going to go to jail for a long time. You know, that could be a attempted murder charge where that guy probably won't, nothing will happen to him. Everything else, what are we talking about? Nicotine can help with the mind clarity, and it's used to stop dementia and Alzheimer's and many more. Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. Or is that a trick to get us hooked back on cigarettes? You know? Because don't you think that smoking too many cigarettes could cause Alzheimer's and dementia? But yet their studies say that nicotine, and I know that there's 4 trillion chemicals in cigarettes that are harmful. I don't know if I buy that. I do buy it. I do believe it, but I don't. I'm torn. So I think that if it was like true, true nicotine, and it hasn't been deep stated, which I don't think that there's a company out there that you could buy nicotine from that hasn't been deep stated. You know, it's not what it appears to be. Either it's complete placebo, or it's got addictive chemicals or shit poison in it, something. You know, I would love to see the pure nicotine that is so wonderful for you. You know what I mean? I don't buy it. But I'm not saying that there isn't beneficial effects from it, like there's beneficial effects from methylene blue, which has also been deep stated. Just, there's nothing out there that they won't deep state. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Not unless you're making it yourself. And then you got to worry about chemtrails. And all of the heavy metals that they're pouring on us. 1 second. Sorry, I had to gargle some water. You can hear my voice going. I'm skeptical because I think it has more harm than good, and it's from personal experience that 2 people that I like that passed away from. Yeah, I agree. It's up to the individual to be informed and make your own. Yeah, 100%. And cigarette smoking is what was named as. And cigarette smoking is what was named as why, and I believe that CG2. It's killed a lot of people. My mom could never kick smoking. You know, my stepdad had quadruple bypass surgery, almost died shoveling snow, and he smoked about 3 packs a day when he had his heart attack. He was only 42 when that happened. So I grew up around cigarette smoke like we all did, and then I smoked heavy myself until 2018, and finally quit. I vaped for a year, and then I quit that in May of 2019, and that's it. 3% worked up to 7%. You had a widow maker at 43. Damn. Yeah, it's scary, you know. It happens, you know, and I mean, I think a lot of us are, you know, damaged goods, including myself, from all the abuse. Plus, all the shit food they give us doesn't help, for sure. Mm-hmm. So what do? You know, you can't stress too much on things. Got to try to stay healthy. It is what it is, right? But yeah, smoking, I mean, I'm not going to harp on it because it's an impossibility to quit. It can be done, but it's just, you know, I think you're just kind of given, you know, the gift. You just know it's time, and I don't think people realize you're just like given the gift. You know what I mean? Other than that, it's pretty hard, almost impossible. You just have to wake up one day and just realize that this is it. You know, it's almost like it's not your decision, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? It's weird because people will try to quit one day and then they fail and they don't want to try again. And because it's like they were given an opportunity and then the opportunity is taken away. I don't know how to explain it. We were all brought up on secondhand smoke when we were young, 100%. Damaged, disaster from head to toe. Yeah, we all are. I got cramps everywhere. You know, I can't even turn around in my truck to back up without getting a cramp on the inner part of my leg now for some reason. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Why is this cramping up? I'm like, oh my God. I was like, man, this is not going to be good when I'm 67 years old. How's this going to work? Oh. Yeah. Yeah, you know, my dad, he quit smoking cigarettes. Luckily. I didn't think he would, but he did, you know. No, I take that back. He went back to smoking. He went back to smoking after he had the heart attack. And then he got cancer. Well, what ended up happening with my dad is, so he had a blood transfusion in 1987 when he had the heart attack. And they gave him hepatitis because they didn't screen for it back then. And he was like me. He never would go to the doctor for shit. And so he went with hepatitis for 15 years undetected. And then when they finally found it, they said that he had the liver of a 30-year raging alcoholic, even though he never drank a drop of alcohol in his life. So then they found a liver for him because they put him on the transplant list. They found a liver for him, said they were going to give him a liver transplant. And they called him back like 2 days later and said, sorry, you can't have the liver because we found out you have cancer. They said he had colon cancer. So the liver failed, and that's what ended up killing him. You know, but it all is contributed back to smoking. You know, he was a heavy smoker. 3 packs a day. Can you imagine? You know, Stephen Mornell, good morning. Good to see you. We're talking about cigarettes right now. It does. I don't think there's anybody in America that isn't affected by, you know, cigarettes, especially, you know, the baby boomers and the generation before that. You know, they were so naive and lied to about cigarettes. You know, I mean, they were smoking, and there was women smoking in hospitals. Some of you guys might have been held by your mother who was smoking in the hospital. You know, I know a guy that's pissed off at his mom because he has asthma, and he thinks that it was because she was smoking in the hospital. So I remember the ashtrays in the malls. You could smoke on airplanes. Definitely in the restaurants. I don't know if you guys can smoke in restaurants in your states, but you can't in Washington State. You can do fentanyl and piss and shit right outside the door, but you can't smoke a cigarette inside, which I'm not arguing with, because I could not handle. We went to the casino like on, I don't know, I think we went on Thanksgiving night. Oh my God. Your clothes just reek when you come out of that place. Luckily, the place we went to had a really decent size no smoking, which I appreciated. But the smoking, that's fucking disgusting, man. And I used to be one of those people. Oh. Oof. Back in the day, I worked at a hospital, and I could smoke making my rounds with the patients. Damn. Yeah, it's crazy. And you know, everybody seemed to survive. You know, it's weird. Like, they probably just keep pumping more and more chemicals into cigarettes these days. You know, it would be so cool to go back in time to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. See everybody again. And just get a feel for the vibe of the time. God, I would love to do that. You know, like, especially like the 80s, man. I would love to go back to the 80s. And just soak up all the, you know. Plus, you could, I would love to watch like the news reports and all the stuff that they showed us on TV. Man, there's probably a lot of telling stuff back then that we could bring back with us now and be like, motherfuckers. Hold on here. Let me go back up here. Things were different back then. My mother took me home from the hospital in a basket and no seatbelt, rolling all over the place. Yeah, you already know. I got my head cracked open standing up in the back of the seat in the car when I was 3. My mom went around the corner and it split my head open. We had to go to Madigan Army Hospital and get stitches. So it could be some of my anger issues just because of that, which I'm, you know. In New Jersey, I go to a full smoking cigar restaurant that allows smoking in tables and bars. Okay. Yeah. Now, you know, I agree. Like, if it's I have no problem with it. If it's like a private club, I think the government should stay the fuck out of that. You know, I have no problem with like smoking facilities. Like, you know, like I never agreed with that. Like, if people want to smoke in a place, and if a restaurant or a bar owner wants there to be cigarettes in there, let them have them. You let him have them his whole fucking life. You know what I mean? People want to smoke when they drink. People want to smoke when they gamble. If you don't like it, don't go. It's that simple. And that's what I tell myself, you know, when I'm there. If you don't like it, you don't have to be here. You know, I mean, it's that simple. There ain't nothing to complain about. You know, I went to go see a doctor, crack addict yesterday. She is a chiropractor that had a show on TLC. I went for my neck and lower back sore this morning. Damn. A doctor crack addict yesterday that had a show on TLC. Damn. Well, she's probably a good doctor. You know, I mean, she's definitely not the only one. You know, I would say that a huge percentage of doctors are hooked on drugs. I mean, that's a fact. Called Jamie's, that's the name of the bar. You know, I'm scared of chiropractors. My daughter said she goes for everything, for, you know, anxiety, insomnia, aches and pains. I'm scared to death to go into a chiropractor. The waiting room for maternity ward, you could smoke. Damn. You make me laugh every so often. The comment about what happens outside the resort, you can smoke a cigarette, but you can't smoke. Yeah, well, it's true, right? Sweet tea. I mean, that's the hypocrisy. It is comical. That's how comedy is born, out of the shit you can't stand. You know, they didn't let you smoke a cigarette inside, but you can literally, you know, just shit yourself right outside the door. You know, excuse me while I walk over your poop so I can go eat my pancakes and not have a cigarette. Gambling and drinking makes you smoke. It's just, yeah, no, it does. When I smoked cigarettes and I gambled, I got in the bonus, I would light a cigarette. Just, and I still see people do it, you know? Like if I see somebody getting a bomb, I'm like, fuck, he's going to light a cigarette. I know it. My neck, my back, my paycheck is whack. That's what they were saying at the Starbucks rallies here in Seattle. My neck, my back, my paycheck is whack. Because $25 an hour plus tips isn't good enough. You know what I mean? If you guys weren't all a bunch of fags and have gauge earrings and gauges in your ears and fucking bold nose rings and colored fucking hair and look like little faggots, you'd probably make more money too. Hi, how you doing? What can I get you? Would you like one of our crispy... Shut the fuck up and just give me my... That's why I don't go to Starbucks. You know? $25 an hour to make coffee. Get the fuck out of here. You know, and I understand that things are expensive, but you know, you go to, you know, if you go to a good, like if you know what you're doing and you just have like one of those little like huts in a parking lot with good traffic, I mean, I would work for free just for tips. Who gives a fuck about the hourly wage? You know, you're going to make $40, $50 an hour in tips. If you know what you're doing, you can make more than that. You could probably make like $80 an hour in tips if you know how to rock out a good coffee stand. You know what I mean? It just makes no sense. But they want $25 an hour, just like in the casino business now. And Steve Wynn killed the tip industry in Vegas, but they do it here in Washington too. You know, when the casinos first opened up here, you had toke boxes that the dealers carried around, their own personal toke boxes, and they were making bank. You know, you had dealers out there that were making fucking bank. And then you had dealers that didn't make shit because they suck and they shouldn't even be dealers. Because, you know, in reality, if you don't have good customer service, get the fuck out of the casino. I mean, that's what people want when they go to a casino. They don't want to sit down with some asshole dealer that doesn't know how to communicate. They want to have a conversation with somebody. You know, if you don't know how to treat people right, you should not be in customer service, period. You know, you want a fucking $30 an hour paycheck when you do $10 an hour work, less than that. It makes no fucking sense. And you get into, you know, and at Muckleshoot, where I used to work at, they have 400 dealers now. And what they do is they accumulate all the tips every 2 weeks, just like you get your paycheck. You know, they have these people that come around and collect all the tips at the end of the night. They count them up and they'll write it on a piece of paper in the break room. You guys made $20,000 in tips tonight, you know, collectively throughout the whole casino. And so, and, you know, every 2 weeks it'd be 200 $250,000 in tips, you know, and then what they do is they divide that between the 400 dealers and then determine an hourly rate depending on how many hours were worked. So, you know, you just get a toke rate and a wage rate. So your toke rate is, you know, $7 an hour, $8 an hour, $10 an hour, when you could used to make easily $25 an hour in tips alone. And the good dealers can make more than that. Them good dealers walk out of there with hundreds, if not thousands, a night. Some of them thousands. But it's not like that anymore. People don't get affected by passive shit like they can with passive smoking. That's true. Magooch, did the doctor take payment in their preferred drug of choice? That's funny. Bambi, good morning. Good to see you. Our valet workers do tremendous in tips. Yeah. I know a young guy that, man, he's already got himself a nice house that he rents. I'm sure he'll be buying a house one day, hopefully. Drives a badass car. You know, I'm sure his bills are outrageous. But you know how the young kids do it. They need that shit. They need the car. They need the flashy this and that. So, you know, if they can afford it. And he told me, like, you know, this kid used to work for me. He was one of the best workers I ever had, Kyle. And he said that nobody wants to run in the valet. He goes, that's one of the tests. He goes, that half the people quit when they found out that, because they just built a hotel. He was one of the first people to get hired. He's already a manager. He's like, people don't want to run to the cars. He said, literally people cannot run. They can't do it physically. So that it's like asking somebody to run to somebody's valet car, you know, for valet is literally like Navy SEAL training these days. It's like, comparatively speaking, it's the same thing. You're asking somebody to go through Hell Week. It's like you said, you got to run uphill to a car. That's like pouring wet sand on the back of somebody's neck these days. I mean, it's that bad. People they literally cannot do it. But yet they expect to work in valet. So could you imagine if they have their own way, what valet would look like? You know what I mean? It'd be a fucking... I don't even want to think about it. See No Evil, it was really good and legit. It's a 6-month wait to see her, and I got in from a friend in 2 weeks. Well, I already knew that, Magooch. Like, if it was somebody that you're seeing, I mean, you got to be like super connected to even get into people that you would want to see, I would imagine. I was taught my other half deals in the high roller room and gets great tips because she talks to the players and she has to chop it up with 403 workers. And it's just insanity, Stephen. That's just it drives me nuts. That's why I can't do it no more. I got out of that industry I got fired from the last casino job I had. But I didn't show up because I could care less anymore. But that was the reason why. You know, it does not pay to have good customer service. And there's those of us that are just built to have good customer service no matter what. It doesn't matter about the money. We just automatically have good customer service. But it's infuriating when you have these people that are just, they're the worst of humanity. And they rub it in your face that they're the worst of humanity. And they don't care. And they let everybody know that they're the worst of humanity. And they let everybody know that they make just as much money as you do. And what ends up happening is those creepy ass motherfuckers creep into management. And then that's when it just all falls apart, you know. And I've been to casinos around here where they're all wearing rainbow shit. And, you know, it's built right into the logos and stuff. It's fucking gross. So, yeah. I mean, in bartending, too, same thing, you know. Bartenders, they even had to go through the same shit where the DEI creeped in and had to like pay their tips out to the cooks because the cooks started bitching because the minimum wage was going up. So the minimum wage tip people that are making tips are now making as much as the cooks, but the cheap it's not that they're cheap, but the restaurant owners can't afford to pay the cooks any more money. So their answer is to steal the tips from the bartenders and the servers, all because the government is forcing the employer to pay, and it benefits no one. It absolutely benefits no one. And then the prices go higher. You know what I mean? It is absolute. It's robbery of us. That's what it is. They're just stealing from us, the elites. But back in the day, you could keep your tips. Yep, you have your own tote box. That was the way to go. And hell yeah. Because I remember, like, when I was a table game player, I had certain dealers that I liked to have deal to me. We had a couple people that, because I had a whole crew that we would just like hang out with when I worked at the casino, and we would just all roll together all the time. And not only would we tip throughout all the playing blackjack or pie gow or craps or whatever we're playing, and then like the good dealers, when they leave the table, we're all tipping them extra money, especially if we're winning. You know what I mean? God, we would hook those guys up, and then they would come hang out with us too, like they were part of our crew. But that all changed when they started splitting the tips. It was like, it doesn't make you want to tip. Like, if you grew up on tips, like I grew up working tip jobs my whole life, it makes you not even want to tip when it's getting split a million fucking ways. It's like, there's a lot of people that do know that. They're like, hey man, let me give you an envelope outside of work, blah, blah, blah. This is a crazy story. One time I was a shift manager in the Keno department at Muckleshoot, wearing a suit and tie, on salary, and not allowed to keep tips. The supervisors and the runners split the tips at the end of the night, but I'm not allowed to keep tips. Well, there's an old guy that's a poker player that, when I first started, I actually got into it with him when I first became a manager, because he made one of the Keno runner girls cry. He was just an asshole in the poker room. So I went over there and I fucking yelled at him, and I pulled him aside. But I was like, man, don't make my employees cry. I was like, now that I'm the manager, I was like, that ain't gonna fly. You're not gonna fucking disrespect these girls like that. Well, we became really good friends. I can't remember his name. Well, he comes up to me one day and he shakes my hand with the most aggressive fucking two-handed handshake, like slaps his one hand over the other, and I can feel money in his hand. And he palms me some money, and I just fucking put it in my pocket. And immediately I get a call on the phone. I answer it, and it's from Tribal Gaming. I shit you not. And these are the guys that fucking walk around with handcuffs in the casino. And I'm under fucking contract not to take tips. And, I was going to keep it. I didn't know what it was. He didn't want it. I knew this guy. He didn't want it to go to the fucking employees. He fucking gives them their own tips. Well, it was just a bad fucking timing. That wasn't why the TGA guy was calling. But I told on myself to save my ass. And he's like, oh, he goes, that's no big deal. He's like, just put it in the tip jar or whatever. Because I was like the dude caught me off guard. He just fucking shook my hand, and fucking, I could feel money, and I just like, put it in your pocket. So I didn't want to be rude, I didn't know what to do, type of thing. He's like, you never know what. I also got I paid out somebody $400 on a pie gow hand that it should have been a push, and I gave him $400, and I get called over and yelled at and kicked off the table. It was the one and only time I ever seen a surveillance picture of myself. You know what I mean? Like the top of my head, and paying out a $400 bet that shouldn't have been paid. So they made me go check rack the roulette table the rest of the night. Yeah, young people can't add for shit these days. Years ago, the box in the table went with you and whoever you're sharing the table that shift, and you were able to keep, tote box. Patty, good morning. Yep, they killed the tote box. They killed customer service. They're killing the gaming industry completely. It's all going online. I just talked to, I'm hooked up with the Puyallup tribe. That's how I sell a lot of my chocolate to. And I'm doing a Christmas tree lot for him right now. Well, one of the guys that, when he has a chance, he smokes fish and he sells salmon. He's really high up in the he's basically the head of the tribal gaming for the Puyallup tribe. And he was just telling me that they recently, just in the last couple of weeks, renegotiated the state compact with the government. And they're raising the limits on the tables. And basically, it was a couple of things about how they've been paying into these 4 different funds about problem gambling and smoking cigarettes, believe it or not, which has nothing to do with gambling. They go hand in hand, but they're trying to blame people smoking on gambling type thing. So they've paid literally hundreds of millions of dollars into these funds for 30 years. And they now found out through the courts that the courts ruled that it's illegal. So they don't have to pay anymore. They're never going to get their money back, but they settled on some like meaningful compensation. But anyway, I was asking him, I was like, well, what's up with is there any new developments on online gambling? Because Washington State is one of the last states to go online. Each state, it's state by state. Some states are full online. Each state has their own rules. Michigan is full online. Washington, the only thing you can bet on is horses. But so I asked him, and his eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. I was like, oh shit, what am I about to hear? He goes, yeah, dude. He goes, we're thinking about, because they already have in the compact, they RFID, they can geofence the casinos where you can bet inside the casinos on your phone. You can, like, for the Puyallup tribe, you load up it's Bet MGM. So it's through MGM Sportsbook, but you can only access it. You can look at it from home, but you can only access your money and bet once you enter the geofence, which is, I've tested it. It's right outside the casino door. You can bet right outside the door, which is stupid. Other than that, you got to be inside the casino. Once you walk away from the door, you can't bet anymore. Well, that's about to change. And it takes years for these things to come to fruition. But he says that they're thinking about geofencing the perimeter of the casino, which is more likely what will happen, meaning that everybody in the parking lot can gamble. So you can be inside the casino and in your car. You don't have to go in the casino, and they get a cut of that. But what they want to do is geofence the entire reservation. So, and there's 800,000 potential customers that come in and off the reservation. So that's all in the works. The long story short is they're killing the gaming industry. They're killing it in Vegas as we speak, left and right. They built the Raider Stadium. They suck. Now they're putting the Oakland Athletics there, and they're shying away from a gambling town and becoming a convention and sports town. So if anybody can figure out that, other than the fact that everything's going online, that's what it is. The food sucks. It's too expensive. Your car can get broken into. You can get robbed and stabbed and shot. There is a list of reasons not to go to the casinos, especially around here. All of those things are very true, especially this car getting stolen. I mean, the Puyallup tribe, the Emerald Queen Casino, literally has had thousands of cars stolen, and no one ever gets caught. Never. Not one person. It's definitely some type of an inside job. I'm going to have to skip all these chats, guys, because my voice is going. Boy, I didn't even play any videos. I'm just sitting here rambling. It's bad out there. Yeah, it's really bad. It goes in streaks. I wouldn't say it's bad right now, but there was some points where it's weird how it goes in streaks. At one point, everybody's getting their catalytic converters stolen. And at another point, people are getting robbed, leaving, grocery stores and Home Depot. And then for, a couple more weeks, they're stealing all the ATMs out of Walgreens and, KeyBank. It's like, it's hard to explain. But yeah, it's so bad that it's why I don't even go. I won't go to the casinos around here. Like the place, the Puyallup tribe that I sell to, their casino is literally right down the street from me, and I won't go there because I'm too afraid to even park my car in there. It's that bad. I'll drive to a whole nother city. Like when we went on Thanksgiving, we could have went to the big casino that's right down, big fancy casino right down the road, but we chose to drove to a smaller one way out in the sticks. Although the funny thing is that the casino that we drove to, I got my car stolen from that casino one time years ago. Believe it or not, a brand new car too. It was a Chevy Sonic. I bought it in 2017, brand new, I bought it in 2015, brand new, and in 2018 it got stolen. So it was 3 years old. But I got it back in an hour and 45 minutes from the time that I realized it was stolen because it had an OnStar. And they were able to shut the car down. The police drove up behind it. And guess, this is the crazy fucking story, guys. This is a true story. Okay? We drove to a completely different town, right? And because we don't want to get our car stolen from the Emerald Queen. Well, my car gets stolen anyways because I left it unlocked, okay, because we went out to my car twice to smoke weed throughout the night. It gets stolen at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I left an extra key fob in the side door. So she got a bag full of weed. I had over $100 in cash in the side thing. And my dumbass left the window down and the door unlocked and the key fob in the car. A digital camera. They got all kinds of tools in the trunk. My dad's urn was back there. I didn't even realize it was still back there. And it was standing upright when I opened up the trunk. And I just remember being so grateful that they didn't take that. But yeah, I called OnStar and I said, when I realized it was stolen, the security looked at their surveillance. They knew who it was because the lady used it was a chick. She used her casino card in the fucking casino and then steals my car. And guess where she drove it? She drove it to the Emerald Queen Casino. I swear to God. Not in the parking lot. And I'm talking about the casino where all the cars get stolen. She drove it 2 blocks away from there. So she drives it like 35 miles from one casino. That's why I know this is an inside job from the thousands of cars that have got stolen from the Emerald Queen Casino. She drives it 2 blocks away from that casino to that neighborhood. So somewhere in that neighborhood is where they're taking all the cars. But OnStar was able to disable my car so it couldn't be started. The cops were waiting for me. And then the crazy thing is that when we were driving, because I was with my buddy Mike, he called his brother, came pick us up. When we got 2 blocks away, OnStar told me to call them when I got close to my car, and then they would enable it to be started again. Well, I'm half asleep because it's like fucking 3 o'clock in the morning now. And we get close, and I get a call on my phone from OnStar, and they're like, I can see that you're close to your car now. We're going to go ahead and start it up. I'm like, what the fuck, man? The shit that technology and, so if anybody thinks that we're not being tracked and worried about being tracked, don't be worried about being tracked because they're tracking all of us, no problem. If OnStar can track us. So yeah, that's what happened. True story. But I was able to get my car back in an hour, 45 minutes, and there was nothing wrong with it other than they stole a bunch of shit. She stole a bunch of shit. Let's get back to the videos, man. I haven't played any videos.
This is a message to all the straight girls of the world. Do you think you could stop referring to your friends as your girlfriends? I know you mean no harm by this, but us lesbians are constantly trying to prove to the world that our girlfriends are actually our girlfriends and not.
Shut the fuck up, man. The world doesn't revolve around you, pal. I'm sorry, but shut the fuck up, respectfully, please.
This.
So I thought that was kind of a funny little video. For $500, you can get a phone-sized device on dark web that will unlock and start almost any car. Damn. Yeah, you know, it's fucked up what those little hooligans do these days. Little motherfuckers, man.
You think people in the United States think that their lives are plagued by Nicolas Maduro being in charge of Venezuela? You think this war is for them, is to benefit American citizens? No one can really possibly think that. And I'll just say this before I just delve into this last point or two, which is that I can promise you there are a lot of Trump supporters who have been saying no more regime change wars, no more regime change wars, no neocons, spend our money at home. And now they're like, yeah, kill the narco-terrorists. Does anyone have any doubt about the following? Let's imagine a situation where there was pressure on Trump to go to war in Venezuela. Let's say like Tom Cotton and Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio, who was still in the Senate, and some of the warmongers in the Democratic Party joined together and said, we want you to go invade Venezuela and change the government of Venezuela. Let's imagine if Trump said, no, I'm not going to go do that. Those are the regime change policies that have plagued our country, put us into debt. I'm not going to go start a war to change the government of Venezuela. That's not for us to do. Let's imagine a world where that happened. Do you think there's even one single Trump supporter now cheering Trump's new war in Venezuela who would be criticizing Trump and saying, how dare you stand up to the neocons and the warmongers and refuse to go invade Venezuela? No, they'd be cheering him for that.
That's true. It's a good point. So, I mean, I don't think there's anybody cheering on what's happening in Venezuela other than warmongers and people that are going to profit financially and that want that regime change. I mean, I don't think that there's any normal American where regime change is on your daily schedule. You know what I mean? Like, one of the things that I'm going to set aside today to think about, you know, I think at lunchtime when I'm eating my grilled cheese and tomato soup, I'm going to think about how much I want regime change to take place in Venezuela. I mean, we don't think like that, do we? I don't. You know, and I consider myself a nerd that fucking obsesses over stupid shit. And I don't even think like that. So, I mean, I don't get it. But we'll move on. You know, who knows what's going to happen in Venezuela? I fucking love this one, man. This is a great video right here. Maybe there is hope for America.
I want to give a shout out and a big thank you to the big corporations for not paying farmers a fair price for their crops. So far this year, I have not sold a single kernel of corn to the big corporations that buy nearly all the corn in the United States. I sold them zero. I've sold all of it direct to deer hunters and cattle farmers. I've ground into cornmeal. I've ground into grits. That bin is getting mighty low. I sold zero to you, corporate America. I'm selling it all direct, and I'm making a lot more money doing it that way. With my peanuts, they tanked the price of peanuts earlier this year. We normally get about $600 a ton or $500 a ton, somewhere in that range. In the 1980s, we got $750 to $800 a ton. Right now, the big corporations are paying peanut farmers $380 a ton for peanuts when we were getting $700 in the 1980s. It is slam ridiculous. It is a shame, and something needs to be done about it. What I personally am doing about it, I started selling peanut brittle made from my peanuts right here on this farm. We are within 20 bags of selling out. We've been selling peanut brittle, I think, for 4 days now. We prepared the mount We thought it would take us through the holidays to sell. We sold it in 4 days. We sold peanut brittle all over this entire country. We unlocked international shipping this morning online, and we're selling it worldwide. Peanut brittle from this farm out to folks like you, because corporate America wouldn't give us a price we deserve for our crops, so we just cut them out of the loop. They're no longer getting a piece. It's straight from me to you.
I'm not going to do it today, Co-Train. We're not doing the mute. We're not doing the Osada mute minute. I almost did it that time. I fucking love this video. Okay? This guy nails it. And you know, I had an epiphany yesterday, if that's what it's called. We need to be a candy making country. And this guy's nailing it. And I thought about it yesterday. Why does China buy all of our almond roca? Because the Brown and Haley factory that's right down the street from me, China's their number one country or supplier or buyer. And what China does is they buy the almond roca and they break it down like I do, and they make their own fancy treats with it and repackage it and resell it in China. You know, we need to become a candy making country. We have sugar. You know, we have all this we're professional fucking sweets. That's how we can save America. We need to start making candy and shipping it around the world. I really feel that. I feel like it's an opportunity for anybody that's not making money. They need to start making candy. That guy fucking nailed it. They want to pay $380 a ton when they're making more than double that in the 80s. You know, especially you look at the price, you know, the average, the buying power of the dollar, it's fucking like 10 times more money they were making back then. You know, but he's supplementing his income with candy. Perfect. And I guarantee he's going to do it forever. He figured it out, and he'll expand. He'll figure out some other things to do. Maybe they'll open up an entire store for the peanut brittle or something. Who knows? I mean, online's the way to go, but he'll probably expand his menu from peanut brittle to like peanut candy to who knows what you can make with that stuff. So glad to see that, but yeah, fuck the corporations, man. You know, we got to buy direct, guys. We got to eliminate the death grip that these guys have on us. You know. Jim Carrey or Jim Brewer, love him on a minute rant. I'm gonna play this real quick and go fill my coffee cup. So I'm gonna go to mute.
Say this again. Tell me this again.
So
Yeah.
the guy who directed Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. He directed it. Yeah.
He created a documentary
Right.
on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
And it's about aliens.
Right.
And how the government knows there's aliens and we have the technology.
Right.
And it's about the race, the Cold War race, to see who can reverse engineer alien technology the quickest.
Know what it sounds like to me? What they've been saying for years? How to really roll in the New World Order? The alien invasion. And when the aliens invade, we shall unite as humanity under one government. What do you think Maui was? Oh, yeah, it's a fire out of nowhere. Lasers don't exist. Jim's a conspiracy theorist. Am I now, sire? Here come the aliens. It's all just a deflection. Oh, could it be a deflection from certain things? I guess we'll never know.
All right, I'm back. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. I forgot what he was talking about there. Usually $40 shift pay and your tips are yours. Tips are where it's at, man. Everything is online now, right? I mean, it is. And gambling, you know, I watched somebody that I know from YouTube on here. They hit a bonus. They were playing. They're the luckiest person I know gambling. They were playing online. They got into a bonus on $6 spin, right? So before they started the bonus, they went live on YouTube so we could all watch it. Their bonus, it's a $6 spin. The bonus lasted 40 minutes, and she won $3,900 and something dollars on DraftKings on a slot machine. You know, she's won many times before. In fact, she won a convertible, a couple months ago. She lives in Michigan. I told her she was going to win it. And then sure enough, she fucking wins the car. Some of you guys might know who I'm talking about. Yeah, so she won $3,000. And in Michigan, it's full open online. And you can have, you know, she was telling me about the taxes. You got to pay a city tax, I think, and then whatever. So she's going to have to pay like $200 and something off of that. And then I don't know exactly how the taxes work. But yeah, it's going to be dangerous when it goes full online, you know. And I think they're going to integrate it into the video game. So these young kids are going to be gambling, you know, while they're playing video games. And apparently that kids game that's all predatorial Roblox is basically gambling for little kids using their little whatever type of boxes that they had in there, or little random boxes. I don't know exactly how it works. Hey, LV, good morning. Good to see you. We are just ranting and not really ranting today, just talking. Yes, so we found out that Pierre DuPont and that DuPont, the DuPont family is, man, they have a lot. I'm not going to play that one right now. It's all very interesting about where the money was coming from for Turning Point USA. It's a big money laundering scheme we're finding out. I like this. If Don Miku's still listening, this guy's calling out his Zionist leader.
Mate, you can shut your mouth. You can shut your mouth. People are dying.
Senator McKim, resume your seat.
Sociopaths like you.
Senator McKim,
I'm not going to cop interjections from sociopaths like Senator Canavan.
Senator
I will
McKim, resume
not
your
cop it
seat.
up. And what they've got to answer for is death, disease, displacement, starvation, people dying of thirst, arable farming lands turning into desert, and most likely billions of people dead by the end of this century, and the collapse of the ecosystems that actually support all human life on this planet. That's what people like Senator Canavan have got to answer for.
It's so true. They're
Mate,
they're fucking up our planet.
Well, you can't make this shit up, boys and girls, but unconfirmed sources that work directly for Admiral Bradley are saying that Admiral Bradley only gave the order to shoot the boat the second time when the order came from the President of the United States. And he has the President of the United States on tape saying, shoot him.
I'm not even sure why I bookmarked that one. Here is Shannon Sharp. Was that his name? And Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, talking about Israel. I mean, it's getting worse, guys.
No, it's not. There's another country that has a white and blue flag with a star on it. No, it's not. It's not even close.
Oh, they own every damn thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, okay. I bet. Why don't he say something about derogatory about that? Why he don't rap that?
Oh,
he want to create content. You told me a content creator.
Hey,
create some content.
They own everything, boy. You hear me? Behind every boy. If you was to peel back the layers, yeah, man, I ain't I'm gonna leave that alone.
That's all I'm saying. See, people don't have no problem saying that. But boy, no, it's not.
See, a lot of these people got out of the traditional media and off of ESPN and all these shows, and then, got caught up in all these alleged sexual, harassment scandals and stuff. They're on YouTube because they know they're sick and tired of that. They know who the bosses are in those shows. And the second you fall out of line, you're toast. You're done. And those people are fucking, they're just so cliquish and, you work for network television, man. You got to be part of the crew. If you're not, so I watch these guys sometimes. I haven't watched them for quite a while, but I enjoy watching their little back and forth sometimes, What else do we got here? A couple more minutes. Let's see here. I don't want to play anything too triggering today. Okay. So Snoop Dogg's got beef with Daz Dillinger, his cousin. So this is his cousin talking about Snoop ripping him off or something of beats.
Okay. Oh, so you own everything. So that's all your stuff. Now you were saying something about the paw. Now what are you talking about with the paw?
Well, like I was saying, the paw is trademarked. Like I told Snoop, you got rejected and I got accepted. You know what I'm saying? So that was the moneymaker. The paw is like the Apple sign, like I said before. And like I said, they tried to go behind my back and trademark all my work and then flum my face like, yeah, nigga, we got it, nigga. That's all we wanted, nigga, because I'm finna sell everything for $1 billion to Universal. You know what I mean? But shh.
So he's complaining that Snoop stole everything from him. And then we got a video of Snoop responding.
Hate on me, huh? In a minute, I'm gonna fuck you up, cuz, on some real shit. Not physically, but business-wise. Cause you broke as a motherfucker right now, so I'm gonna fuck you up in a minute, cuz. Leave me alone. Leave me the fuck alone. Leave me alone, cuz. I'm gonna fuck you up. Leave me alone. I see you ain't got shit to do but hate on me, huh? In a minute, I'm gonna fuck you up, cuz, on some real shit.
So poor Snoop's got some family drama on some real shit. I'm gonna fuck you up, cuz, on some real shit. I mean, these guys are like supposed to be, I always say this, like these guys have the opportunity to be role models and they just fail us every time without exception. And I think it's because anybody that is anybody these days, they're not independent. They work for somebody. They're some billionaire owns their ass, and so they're not a real person. They have to do and say what they're told. So, including Joe Rogan. He works for somebody too. People don't realize that. Why are they doing fighting online? It's a good question. I could just be for clicks and views. I think because he got me talking about it. So I like Snoop, but I'm just waiting for the hammer to fall and something horrible to come out about. Yeah, right, Patty? That whole crew. Handle it legally. Yeah. Well, that's why I think it's, it's got to be like, it's probably just for clicks and views, AOV, don't you think? I mean, when was the last time that Snoop Dogg was relevant where we were talking about Snoop Dogg? The only way that people who live their life by the camera and, they judge their validity and just who they are as a human based on how many people are watching them, they need this. Where it doesn't, they don't feel whole. They have to be noticed. Yep, Clive Davis, definitely one of them. See No Evil, you got that right. It goes even deeper than that, though. ALV, I agree. It's like YouTube, back and forth. They have more problems than anybody, big time. Need for attention, 100%. Because if you were like, you had talent that could not be stopped, you were just that good, I mean, that's why I feel like with me, like my cooking abilities, it's just talent that cannot be stopped. Now, is it going to get me to the level that Snoop Dogg got to? No, it never will, because This just has a plateau. It's you know, I mean, it is what it is. But relatively speaking, nobody can stop me from doing it. I just have too much talent in the kitchen. You know, I can go anywhere and sell people stuff. Everybody has their own little lane. But if they were truly talented on that level, you know, they wouldn't have to do stuff like this. You know what I mean? But there's just they made their corporate songs, then they probably sold their catalog, so they don't even own their own music, which they probably never owned in the first place. And so now, you know, as their money dwindles, the only way to, you know, get more money is the only way is to act like a complete degenerate. Because if you act like a civilized human being, nobody cares, right? I mean, that's not going to make you any money. You're going to have to produce something. You're going to have to make strawberry shortcakes and, you know, chocolate bark if you want to make money, other than, you know, people like him who use their notoriety to benefit them financially, even if it causes them embarrassment. I guess that's what it is. You have to have sex with Martha Stewart. 100. You have to make a perfect man, the perfect man cocoa bomb to get to the next level. You know, I seen that a couple years ago too. It's like in the back of a Ross, like a little discount clothing store. They have gifts back there. You know, and I'm not gonna lie, ALV, I was pissed off. I did videos on this about Costco, about Walmart, about Target, about all of them making hot cocoa bombs and trying to take my business. You know, this is like 2022, Jason, when that's all I knew how to make was I did chocolate strawberries, chocolate pretzels, and hot cocoa bombs. That's all I did. So I was highly offended when I found out, especially Costco. I was like, these motherfuckers can't let me do nothing. I was like, there's just no way. And that's why I was like, man, chocolate strawberries are going to be my thing, because you can't make chocolate strawberries and sell them in a store and expect to be, you know what I mean? It's just not going to work. There's one company, Sherry's Berries, that you can buy chocolate strawberries online and read the reviews. They're not good. So, yeah, they do. They have their Perfect Man hot cocoa bomb. They've got all, but, you know, they all taste like garbage. And it's crazy because I can get people to spend $20 on 4 hot cocoa bombs, and they're going to be spending 30 now because I have these really cool Christmas boxes that hold 6 of them, and I'm going to throw in a couple other little things. Then I can get people to spend $20 on a box of hot cocoa bombs. You won't get nobody to buy those at the store. I mean, you ain't seen. I mean, did you see anybody buying them while you were there, ALV? I highly doubt it. You know what I mean? They just literally are just going to sit there. Oh, you've tasted them? And they're expensive, you know. Now, I would like to have my own drone delivery service, or if I had a bunch of drones working for me and I could just, like, you know, zip them to wherever. You could potentially hit the whole country if you have, you know, because you'd be looking at probably, 7 or 8 hours to hit anywhere in the country via drone if they were that sophisticated and had that much flight time. You wouldn't even have to fucking ship to the whole country. I wouldn't even be able to make that move. Do you lose money having to mail order stuff? So expensive. Yeah, I don't even, you know, ALV is mad at me for not shipping chocolate right now. But I don't have any desire to do it right now, Patty, to tell you the truth. The last time I shipped chocolate, the post office laughed at me when it got lost. I sent $50 worth of chocolate to Gerard Chatelli, and it never got to him. So I go to the post office and check, and they just laugh at me. They're like, yeah, we don't know what happened to it. It was scanned in Kent last time. And the 400-pound Samoans back there ate it. So it just pisses me off, you know, because it is not cheap to ship. I appreciate that, Patty. I don't, you know, I always say this. I don't come on here for my business. You know what I mean? I'm just a local guy right now. You know, if I ever get to the point where I can ship, I would love to ship to you guys. You know, maybe one day I'll get like a website and sell a few things on here, which I might, you know. So I'd like to do some hoodies too, because people have asked me for hoodies, you know, because I have some Osada Treat hoodies that I wear. So yeah, no, I thank you, CGC. I appreciate that. But I, you know, right now, honestly, like I can't even keep anything in stock. That's what I keep telling ALV. It's like, it's hard for me to even keep anything in stock right now, you know. The fact that my chocolate got stolen, I just got that in the last couple days. And so I'm going to be spending the next 2 days making hot cocoa bombs. They'll all be gone probably this weekend. And then I'll have to do it all over again next week. So it's a good problem to have. But yeah, the whole, you know, I think that our post office system is really fucked up right now. It's really messed up. So your daughter's still waiting for Easter chocolate? I know. The 400-pound Samoans ate it and it just got lost. Yeah. See, everybody's got a story about the post office lately, that's why, you know, I'm not emotionally capable of handling that happening again. I'm going to go postal on those guys because they are literally 400-pound Samoans. It's like a racist post office for some reason. They only hire Samoans. And I'm just going to have to drive my car through the whole crowd of them if they were to steal my chocolate again. I refunded Gerardo's money back, and I just ate the loss. So you're talking about the $50 for the chocolate and the shipping and just my time and shit. Oh, God. That was not happy. Not to mention, just makes me look bad. Thank God I had the tracking number, you know, so I could at least prove that I sent the chocolate. And even though I refunded him, it's just not a good look. You know, the whole thing was a bad experience. So, post office, get your shit together, man. Fuck. Maybe ALV can sue them. This is horrible, man. I don't even want to play this video. Well, it's not nothing to play. It just says that in Sacramento, 40-year-old Marvin Morales, a former Sacramento County deputy who was found to have lied about a 2023 fentanyl overdose following an investigation. Father who killed his son. So he stabs his 11-year-old son to death in front of his 6-year-old. And then the cop shot and killed him on I-5 in Sacramento. Yeah, the mother called to report the father was threatening their children. Police arrived to find the father fatally stabbing his 11-year-old son with a 6-year-old present. And then he runs from the police and they kill him on the freeway. And he's a former cop, man. That's it. It's so bone chilling to hear that, you know, you could possibly, in this country, there's such a huge percentage of police officers that are mentally disturbed. You know, we hear these stories all the time. You know, you don't want to break the law because you don't want to find yourself handcuffed in the back of a cop car with an absolute psychopath driving you, because it's a possibility in this country. I'm not saying all cops are bad, but that is absolutely just bone chilling. Here we have the most incompetent FBI director, bug-eyed Kash Patel, just a complete, I think he's gay.
Yeah, look, anonymous sources always lie, results don't. I'll get to the results in a second. These anonymous sources were individuals from the Comey Ray era that weaponized the Department of Justice and cratered the public trust in the FBI to something that was at levels that has never been seen. 35% public trust in the FBI when we came in 10 months ago. And now we're to believe that these anonymous sources are the ones accusing this FBI, the most successful in history, of being rudderless. Let's just look at the results. If we were so rudderless and we sent our mission out into the country and around the world, how would we have arrested 25,000 violent felons this year alone? That's twice as many as last year alone. How would we have arrested 35% more spies from Russia, China, and Iran than last year alone? How would we have found 6,000 children and identified them? That's up 22% from last year alone. We have taken down criminal networks and those that wish to do harm to our children. We have arrested in the 764 category, the nihilist violence extremist network, a 590% increase on those who wish to prey on our children. Those are just some examples, and I haven't even gotten to the monumental success on fentanyl, where we shut off precursors from China and have seized enough fentanyl, 22% increase this year alone, enough to kill 127 million Americans. We're crushing violent crime. We're defending the homeland. When Dan and I got here, it was.
Bug-eyed Cash Patel. What a lying sack of shit. You know, rudderless is not even, that's an understatement. Sounds like that stuff happened when bath salts was a thing. Yeah. Mosada, did you talk about Trump stopping EBT for all the blue states next week, but that don't comply with giving info on who received it? No, I didn't even see that, Coach Train. 400 pounds. Are they former offensive linemen? Yeah, I think they are. And now they work at the post office, and they have no sense of urgency whatsoever. No, I didn't hear about that, Coach Train. I do have a couple of his videos, though. We could play those right now. Already, all right, they found 182,000 dead. Damn. Crash Patel. Yeah, I mean, the system is so fucked up and crooked, but because we don't even have a clue who's running the country. And Cash Patel, Candace Owens implicated him, and he knew what was going on about Valhalla and all these secret operations, joint operations between France and the United States, leading up to Charlie Kirk's assassination. All right. Here is the all exciting Marco Rubio talking, and Trump can't stay awake.
But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on in the world as a country, but he's the only leader in the world that can help end it. And that's why that's why even as we speak to you now, Steve Woodcock is in Moscow trying to find a way to end this war, to save lives of 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you know, are dying every week. More people. But this war is going on, and the president is trying to end it, not because, listen, we got a million things to focus on, are dying every week. More people, but this war is 9,000 people, Mr. President, as you know, are dying every week.
He didn't open his eyes right there. He just gave the duck lips, the Donald Duck lips. And he said, He says, I'm catching some Z's. Yeah, he's napping. I wonder about Dan Bongino. I liked him, but would love to know what changed him. He deep stated us, Patty. You know, he was a former Secret Service for Clinton and for Hillary Clinton. And he led us to believe that, you know, he knew she was a snake and all this kind of stuff. And that's kind of what sold me, too. But then come to find out, he just completely lied to us, completely deep stated us, you know. He's still in the underpants of the Clintons and all the deep staters. We just got, like I said yesterday, I feel like a complete idiot, a complete fool for rooting on people that I knew nothing about, Cash Patel and Dan Bongino. I'll never do that again. You know, I know better than to do that. But yeah, we got deep stated for sure. Donna's doing it. Good morning. Overslept. No worries. Oh wow, it's past 4:00. Time flies. All right, we got a couple more videos real quick. Let's just do the Trump ones. Okay, none of us like Chuck Schumer, but he's not wrong here. He's just not. I got to call balls and strikes.
The fucking hypocrisy of Donald Trump. He has a third of our military in the Caribbean, supposedly to prevent drugs from coming into America. And at the same time, this morning, pardons one of the most notorious drug dealers in Central America, the former president of Honduras, convicted of sending 400 tons of cocaine into the United States. What a disgrace. The fucking...
You know, it's proven now that, you know, these guys are all about algorithms and clicks and views, that you'll notice all the politicians drop the F-bomb now. And it is 100% for the clicks and views. Like these guys they've already sold their souls to the devil, but it is just, you know, they've realized that if they, you know, like if one of us say fuck, it doesn't even move the needle. But if somebody like Chuck Schumer says fuck or fucking, it moves the needle. So that's why they say it. Gavin Newsom is the one that discovered that for everybody. He is pure evil. What have we been reduced to? We're slaves. When we are fed slave slop. And it's got to the point now where it's not just poisonous real food. They're going to start feeding us crickets and maggot milk. And we're going to like it. And that's what they're telling us. And they've already started to do it. And fake meat. And oh, by the way, they have the red meat tick allergy. There's ticks out there that if you get bitten by them, you can never eat meat again or you'll die. And meat, dairy too, like eggs and butter. But don't worry, Bill Gates has fake meat and fake dairy, fake butter, everything you need, he's got for you. Bioengineered, Soylent Green, yes it is. All right, guys, this show's about to end. Let's see what else we got. 50 seconds of bullshit from the Secretary of War.
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital. This is called the fog of war.
Hold on. People have gotten blown up in the fog of war, and Trump is what? Is he nodding off again?
This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
Okay, well, you're not doing nothing on behalf of the American people because none of the American people support what you're doing. First of all, you never told us any of this shit. And I told AOV and everybody 3 months ago that we were going to go to war with Venezuela because I had heard about it. But they never told us about this during the election. And does anybody think that we're going to curb the flow of fentanyl with bombing fucking Venezuela? And does anybody not think that we're going in there for gold and oil and lithium? But, you know, China's not having it. China is ready to fucking come over and go to war because that's their shit down there. They have a lot of money invested in South America, a lot, and the Caribbean in general. They have ports all over down there. So it's not like we own all this shit because we don't own anything. D-Rest, what's going on, man? Haven't seen you forever. Good to see you. The left swear you've been hard pressed to find a rep swearing on live media, right? Republicans swearing. Yeah, no, that's true. It is the left swear. You're right about that. It is a left thing. Yeah, Tommy's on. We got to go, right? Heading over from Sinatra. Yeah. Let's head out, guys. Appreciate everybody stopping by. We'll head over to Tommy's, watch some Sinatra. I got to get to work. And happy Wednesday, December 3rd. Christmas is right around the corner. What day is Christmas this year? Thursday. So we got 1, 2, 3 weeks till Christmas Eve. Damn. Time flies. All right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for hanging out.